But I also want to talk about Ethereum. Ethereum has a meandering narrative. World computer, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. And Vitalik never talks about standard measurement of value. He never talks about equilibrium emerging. He talks about hard money, and then what does he do? He says, we're going to reduce the supply. He's just like a central banker trying to manipulate the money to make it more valuable for a short-term gain and long-term instability. So, this guy is no different than a CBDC, and long-term, it's a really bad investment. Whereas Bitcoin is, I believe the original intent of Bitcoin is about an equilibrium and the emerging standard measurement of value. It's not a meandering narrative.
Right. Yeah, well, it's decentrally planned, basically, whereas Ethereum is centrally planned.
Yeah.
What was Ethereum talking about that one time? That they wanted to be instead of being hard money, which was fixed supply, they wanted to have an actual decreasing supply. They call it like super hard money.
Yeah. It's like you missed the point again. You went from stupid back to the other side of stupid.
It's the other side of stupid, yeah. The whole point is to have something that is as unchangeable as possible.
Yes.
Which you can't do when you have the possibility of a human interfering with and changing the rules or the supply. Right? That's the whole point, is to get the politics and the politicking out of the monetary system.
Yeah.
Right? We always say, it'd be great if we could get the money out of politics. Like, well, that's never going to happen because guess what? Humans are political animals and we all like money. So that's not going to happen. But what you can do, at least to a very significant extent, is get the violent fiat politics out of money. Yeah. And that's what Bitcoin does.
Fiat is the root of all evil. It really is. Bitcoin is, an honest ledger is the root of all good.
Yeah.
It really does enable non-cooperative behavior to become cooperative.
Yes.
And if you take a look at, it's even corrupted the SEC. You look at Bitcoin, here's clearly a decentralized. It's not a security, and it took more than 10 years for it to become an ETF. And yet within 1 year, Ethereum, which is more centralized than Bitcoin, which is not a commodity, they get their ETF right after Bitcoin gets their ETF. Gensler needs to lose his job. The SEC has abandoned the Howey test. When Ethereum got its ETF, it is a security because it does pass the Howey test. What is the Howey test? There's like 4 different rules to it, but basically, does it qualify as an investment contract? Right? That's fundamentally the Howey test. There's 4 prongs to it. There's all these smart contracts within. Again, it gets back to that von Neumann coalitions. You're getting into all this complexity. Bitcoin doesn't have that. It should become an ETF 10 years ago, but it was stalled by political corruption. And then Ethereum comes, again, SEC has abandoned the Howey test. And I don't know if that's ever going to be challenged, but yeah, Gensler needs to lose his job over this.
Well, yeah, in the long run, I think Bitcoin obliterates the SEC and a lot of other 3-letter agencies. So in the long run, it won't matter.
I think the SEC still has a need, but the fact that it is politically corrupted, it needs to be scaled way back. I think there's some elements.
You can have basically the entire purpose of government is the preservation of life, liberty, and property, right? To the extent that SEC is actually protecting people from actual fraud, okay, that version can exist. The SEC in its current format is not that.
Well, in terms of investment contracts, I think it is helpful to have disclosures. And when you are a security, those kind of disclosures, I think, can help reduce some of the corruption in this world. So I think at that layer, if they're honest disclosures, I think that can be helpful.
Yeah, I would agree, but I would say you don't need the law to impose or enforce that. I think a market solution, just basically those who make those disclosures will raise money in a market that has actual private property enforced, and those that do not make those disclosures will get fucking sued or will not get business. Basically.
I would like to see Ethereum as it is a security, and I would like them to be making full disclosure of who's behind it, and you know what their inner workings are. I would like to see that fully disclosed with Ethereum.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen with Ethereum is that it's going to just crash and burn like every other shit coin at some point.
Over time, yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be some technical implosion. And if not, there will just be the long run economic destruction by Bitcoin, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money, and be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.